Welcome to Wealth Hustle 247 podcast, your trusted guide to financial literacy, business innovation, and entrepreneurial success. Learn how to grow your wealth, make informed decisions, and turn your ideas into profitable ventures.
In this AI-generated podcast, learn how to negotiate to win and unlock your path to business and financial mastery. Discover powerful negotiation strategies that help you close better deals, increase your value, and build lasting success.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a skill that's just absolutely crucial if you want to succeed in business and finance. Negotiation.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, think about it. Every single deal, every partnership, even just getting better terms, it all boils down to how well you negotiate.
Exactly.
We've got some great material here, and our goal today is to really pull out the core ideas, the strategies that can help you become, well, a master negotiator.
And it's more than just getting by, right? It's about unlocking real value, better financial outcomes, more opportunities. It's strategic.
Absolutely. So where do we start? Our sources really stress the foundation, the mindset. It's not just about having a few tricks, is it? It's like a whole approach.
It really is. It's about fundamentally shifting how you even see negotiation, moving away from that old idea of it being a battle, you know?
Right, the win-lose thing.
Exactly. Towards seeing it as, well, collaboration. Finding ways for both sides to benefit, that changes everything.
So it's about looking past the surface demands, like the specific salary number or the price tag.
Precisely. The real key is understanding the why. What are the underlying interests? For them, and just as importantly, for you.
Can you give an example of that? Like, how does that play out?
Sure. Take salary negotiations. An employee asks for X amount. That's the position. But the interest might be long-term security or maybe feeling valued or growth opportunities.
Okay.
And the employer. Their position might be a budget constraint, but their interest is probably retaining good talent, maybe ensuring team stability.
So if you understand those deeper interests.
Then you can find creative solutions.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not just about the base salary. Maybe it's training, flexibility, bonuses tied to performance things that meet both underlying needs.
And this mindset, it's not just for the negotiation itself. Our sources talk about a growth mindset too.
Yeah, that's critical. Seeing negotiations that maybe don't go perfectly, not as failures, but as learning opportunities.
Okay, so you analyze what happened, you adapt.
You adapt, you get better. Negotiation's a skill you build over time. Resilience is key.
Right. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk leverage and be a TNA. Leverage sounds powerful, but maybe a bit vague.
It can feel that way, but basically, leverage is about the resources and options you have that improve your position. It's not always about just having more money or power.
And Bay TNA is central to that.
Absolutely central. Bait TNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement.
Which basically means your walkaway option.
That's it. Your plan B. What will you do if this deal doesn't happen? The stronger your BTNA, the more confidence you have.
Because you're not desperate.
Exactly. You can push for better terms because you know you have a decent alternative. If your BTNA is weak, well, you're kind of stuck. You might take a bad deal.
So how do you actually strengthen your BTNA? It's not always obvious.
Good question. It takes work before you negotiate. Researching options, actively creating alternatives.
Okay.
Well, if it's a job offer, maybe getting another offer, or seriously exploring freelancing. For a business deal, finding other suppliers, or even looking into doing it in-house.
Okay, so it's proactive.
Very proactive. The better your plan B, the stronger you are in plan A's negotiation.
And what about power dynamics? Is it always the bigger company that has the advantage?
Not necessarily. Power often comes from information. Understanding the other side's needs, their pressures, their priorities, that knowledge gives you leverage, regardless of size.
And timing matters too, right? When you reveal information or ask for things.
Oh, absolutely. Introducing something when the other side is maybe under a deadline or feeling a bit weaker, that can be incredibly effective. Strategic timing is a real skill.
Okay, let's move on to this idea of win-win negotiations. Sounds great in theory.
But it's achievable. It goes back to those underlying interests again. If you focus on interests, not just fixed positions, you open up possibility.
Like the salary example, finding solutions beyond just the number.
Exactly. And it leads to this idea of creating value, not just slicing up a fixed pie, but finding ways to make the pie bigger for everyone.
How do you do that? Make the pie bigger?
By looking for trade-offs, things that are high value to them, but maybe lower cost to you. Bundling deals, adding services, adjusting timelines. exploring all the variables.
So thinking more broadly than just the main point of contention.
Precisely. And you can't do that without, well, open communication and empathy, actually.
Empathy in negotiation.
Yeah, genuinely trying to understand their perspective, asking good questions, really listening to figure out what success looks like for them. That's how you find those win-win opportunities.
Okay, makes sense. Now let's get tactical. Chapter 4 in our source material talks about specific techniques.
Yeah.
Anchoring is first. That's the opening offer, right?
That's the one. And it's powerful because that first number thrown out there tends to, anchor the whole discussion. It sets a psychological benchmark.
Even if it's rejected.
Even if it's rejected. Subsequent offers often relate back to that initial anchor. But, key point, your anchor needs to be strategic, yes, but also reasonable. Go too crazy, and you just damage credibility.
Okay. Then there's mirroring and active listening. Mirroring is like subtly copying them.
Yeah, subtly matching body language, tone, maybe keywords. It builds subconscious rapport, makes people feel more connected, understood.
And active listening.
That's more conscious, fully focusing, understanding not just the words, but the meaning behind them, asking clarifying questions, summarizing. It shows you're engaged and helps you uncover those crucial underlying interests. Both build trust.
And what about silence? Our sources say it's powerful, which seems counterintuitive.
Oh, it really is. After you make an offer or ask a tough question, just pausing, being silent.
What does that do?
It creates pressure. People feel an urge to fill the silence, so they might reveal more information or make a concession or justify their position further just to break that tension. Learning to be comfortable with silence is a huge advantage.
Interesting. Okay, chapter 5 zooms in on financial negotiations specifically. How are these different?
The stakes are often higher, and the focus really sharpens on long-term financial health and managing risk. It's not just about the immediate deal.
Let's take investment terms. What are the key things to negotiate there?
You're looking at protecting your capital while maximizing returns. So you need to understand the instruments, equity, profit sharing, convertible debt, whatever it is.
And negotiate things like control, exit strategies.
Exactly. Valuation is just one piece. Control, investor rights, how and when investors can exit. These are critical terms you need to nail down.
What about debt negotiations? Many businesses face this.
Right. Key here is understanding everything. Interest rates, collateral requirements, repayment schedules. Knowing the details lets you negotiate for better conditions, maybe lower rates or more flexible terms.
And M&A, mergers and acquisitions, that's really high-stakes stuff.
Definitely. And the negotiation there is super complex. Due diligence has to go way beyond just the financials.
Like what?
Strategic fit. Is this actually a good match? Cultural compatibility, huge. Can these teams actually work together? And then, of course, the financial terms, valuation, tax implications. Getting those right is crucial for making the deal actually work long term.
Got it. Chapter 6 moves to strategic partnerships and joint ventures. Different dynamic again.
Yeah, because these are built on long-term interdependence. Success really hinges on aligning goals and values right from the start.
So before you even partner up, you need to be sure you're fundamentally on the same page.
Absolutely. You both need to be truly invested in mutual success. And that means negotiating clear, fair terms for sharing both the risks and the rewards.
If it feels unbalanced, it probably won't last.
Exactly. Resentment builds. So getting that risk-reward balance right is key for sustainability.
And planning for disagreements.
Essential. You need a conflict resolution framework before problems arise. Agreeing on how you'll handle disputes, mediation, arbitration, whatever, saves a lot of pain later.
Okay, Chapter 7 looks at negotiation as a driver for wealth building and expansion. So it's not just defensive, it's proactive growth.
That's a great way to put it. Effective negotiation is an engine for growth and profitability.
International expansion is mentioned. That sounds complex, negotiating across cultures.
It is. You absolutely have to understand local business customs, legal systems, communication styles. What works in one place might be offensive in another. Preparation and cultural sensitivity are non-negotiable, really.
Makes sense. And talent acquisition, negotiating with employees.
Crucial for growth. You need top talent. Negotiation helps you create competitive packages, salary, benefits, growth opportunities that attract and keep the best people, aligning their needs with the company's goals.
And supply chain negotiations, getting better deals from suppliers.
Big impact on the bottom line. Negotiating better prices, payment terms, delivery schedules that directly cuts costs, improves cash flow, boosts profitability. It's often overlooked but very powerful.
Chapter 8 gets into persuasion and influence. It's not about tricking people, though.
No, not at all. It's about aligning your ideas with their needs and interests, showing them how an agreement benefits them, finding that common ground.
So how do you build the credibility needed for that?
Consistency is key. Do what you say you'll do. Be transparent about your goals, your limitations. Show expertise. Build a reputation for integrity. Trust is everything.
And what about reciprocity? The idea of giving to get.
That's a powerful psychological principle. When you offer something of value, maybe a small concession, some useful information, people feel a natural inclination to give something back. It makes them more receptive.
And emotions play a role, too. It's not all logic.
Far from it. People make decisions emotionally, then justify logically. So appealing to emotions, maybe highlighting the positive impact, creating a sense of shared purpose, using storytelling can make your arguments much more compelling.
Interesting. And framing and reframing, how does that work?
Framing is how you present information, like focusing on the potential gain instead of the cost. Reframing is about changing how the whole situation is viewed, maybe to overcome an objection or find a new angle. It's about shaping perception.
Moving into Chapter 9, advanced strategies. Things like good cop, bad cop. Does that still work?
It can in certain situations. One person is tough, the other is reasonable, pushing the other party towards the good option. But it's risky. If it seems manipulative, it can destroy trust instantly. Use with caution, if at all.
What about strategic concessions, not just giving things away?
Never just give things away. That's the rule. Every concession you make should ideally get you something in return. It's a trade-off, an exchange of value. Always be thinking, what am I getting for this?
Okay. And ZOPA, zone of possible agreement.
Right. That's the space between your walkaway point and theirs. Understanding where that zone likely is helps you know what's realistically achievable. You aim to land somewhere within that ZOPA where both sides can agree.
And timing becomes even more critical in these complex deals.
Absolutely. Knowing when to push, when to pause, when to introduce new information, when the other side might be under pressure, that strategic sense of timing can make or break a complex negotiation.
Chapter 10 brings us back to ethics and long-term relationships. This seems really fundamental.
It is, because short-term wins gained through unethical means rarely lead to long-term success. Sustainable business is built on trust and good relationships.
So honesty and transparency are key.
Foundational. Being clear about your objectives, your constraints. It builds the trust needed for productive negotiation and partnership. Deception just backfires eventually.
And respecting the other party, even when you disagree strongly.
Essential. Treat them with respect, listen to their perspective, acknowledge their interests even if you can't meet them all. It fosters goodwill and makes finding solutions easier. Remember, you might need to work with this person again.
Fairness and reciprocity come up again here too.
Yes, aiming for outcomes that feel fair to both sides. Not necessarily 50-50, but equitable. Where both feel they got reasonable value, that builds lasting relationships.
And the warning against high-pressure tactics.
Yeah, they might work once, maybe, but they damage relationships, harm your reputation. Ethical negotiation is about building bridges, not burning them.
Okay, Chapter 11 circles back to finance, wealth creation, and preservation. Negotiation helps protect what you have, too.
Exactly. It's not just about making more, it's about safeguarding your assets through smart agreements.
Like in real estate deals. Those are often huge transactions.
Definitely. Negotiating purchase price, financing, repairs, contingencies requires understanding the market and skillfully handling the terms to maximize value and minimize risk, whether buying, selling, or leasing.
And negotiating around taxes. Is that possible?
Well, you can't negotiate the tax laws themselves, obviously, but you can sometimes negotiate with tax authorities on assessments or payment plans, and you definitely negotiate with advisors on tax-efficient strategies.
Insurance, too. Negotiating policy terms.
Absolutely. Getting the right coverage, not too much, not too little at the best price, involve negotiating deductibles, limits, exclusions. It's key risk management.
And finally, estate planning.
Yes, negotiating with lawyers, planners, even family members to structure your estate plan effectively, minimize taxes, and ensure your wishes are carried out. It preserves wealth for the future.
So our final chapter, Chapter 12, ties it all together.
Yeah.
Mastering negotiation for lifelong financial independence.
That's the ultimate goal, right? Using these skills consistently to build and maintain financial freedom.
How does negotiation help build passive income, for instance?
by negotiating favorable terms on rental properties, royalty agreements, business investments, deals that generate income without requiring constant active work. That's core to financial independence.
And scaling a business.
Negotiation is vital there. Getting investment capital on good terms, securing major contracts, forging strategic partnerships for growth all require strong negotiation skills to maximize profitability and build long-term value.
The sources even mention building a legacy.
Yeah, using negotiation to structure philanthropic efforts, support causes you believe in, ensure your wealth makes a lasting impact in the way you intend.
And the final crucial point, continuous learning.
Absolutely critical. The world changes, markets shift, new tactics emerge. You have to keep learning, keep adapting your strategies to stay effective, and maintain that financial independence. It's an ongoing journey.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. It's so clear that negotiation isn't just, one skill among many. It underpins almost everything in business and finance.
It really does. And you see how it all connects: the collaborative mindset, the strategic planning like BATNA, the tactics, the ethics, the relationship building. It's a whole package.
So for everyone listening, as you head into your next negotiation, big or small, maybe just think about this. What if you focused on applying just one or two of these principles consistently? Maybe really digging into underlying interests or consciously strengthening your BATNA beforehand. How might that change the outcome? What new possibilities could open up with a more strategic approach?
That's a great question to ponder.
A powerful thought indeed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
That's it for today's episode of Wealth Hustle 247. Be sure to follow, like, comment, and share with others. Keep pushing toward your goals, and we'll see you in the next episode.